Oh, hold on. Why did we go live this way? It's okay. Hey everyone, it's Amanda with Ooh, that's complicated. My life, my way. Sorry about the like weird camera thing I had going there for the first time ever. When I turned on the camera, it was facing away from me, not facing to me. Kind of a little bizarre. So anyways, how are you guys doing today? We are chilling out and it's lovely outside. It's like 22 degrees out here. It is beautiful. I keep looking into the corner, by the way, because that's where you guys would type if it comes up. So let me know where you guys are from and how you guys are hanging out today and all that kind of fun stuff. I'm going to wait a minute or two for everybody to kind of get on. Once we hit up the 2-minute mark, then I'll start talking about all of the fun stuff that's been going on around here. We're going to call it fun with like brackets around it. Oh my goodness. Wow, are we like dead silent in this room or what? There we go, Mississauga, Ontario. How you guys doing? Is it nice out there, Marianne? Hey, Jacqueline. I know where you're from. Oh my goodness. It is beautiful out today. Absolutely gorgeous. So, hi, Chelsea. Yes, I know where you're from. Sim City. You guys enjoying the weather? Oh, tornado warnings. Okay, that's a little less fun. We had a wicked storm that ripped through here last night. We've been heat waving where I live in Alberta, and it's been like 29, 30 degrees Celsius. It's been hot. And my little house does not have air conditioning. Yeah, right? No air conditioning equals a sweaty mess for this last week. And then last night we had a wicked storm that ripped through. I didn't even know it was hitting because my husband and I were actually playing darts in the basement trying to like hide out somewhere a little colder. And I came upstairs, the dog wanted to go out, and it was like wind ripping through like crazy. I was laughing, I was calling it gale force winds. Obviously it's not. But I looked at the dog, I'm like, you're not going outside right now. Like it was sheets of rain coming down. It only lasted a little while and then it turned into like a nice summer rain, which is super great. But, well, at least you got AC in the trailer. That's not so bad. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I have like a little AC unit in my bathroom, or sorry, not my bathroom, in my bedroom. Like one of the little portable ones or whatever we just put up every year. And at least it keeps it to the point where like sleeping is comfortable. So that's all right. The rest of it I can just suffer up and deal with, right? You can always wear a little bit short shorts or whatever. But yeah, we've been kind of dealing with a heat wave and we can't go anywhere because we are under full quarantine. And my neighbor's mowing his grass. We might have to move this if he ends up mowing the backyard. So let me know if the noise gets too bad, by the way, and I'll move inside. But I was just trying to enjoy some of the nicer weather now that it's not so ragingly hot outside. But yeah, we're on full quarantine. So Thursday, I woke up with a sore throat. And it wasn't bad, but it was a sore throat. And like I said, I've been sleeping with the air conditioning on at night. And I do snore a little some days. Some days are worse than others. And so sometimes I do wake up with a bit of a sore throat and then it goes away within like my first cup of coffee and it's just dry and sore. And then it didn't go away. And I went back to bed. And I got up a little later. And it was still sore. And I was supposed to actually go on Friday to bury my stepdad with my mother. He was cremated when he passed away in November. And all of his family was coming back in from all over the province and actually into the province next to us. And they were going to inter him on his father's grave. Which is what his mom wanted and probably what he would have wanted as well. And I was supposed to go down with my mom. We were going to go do this whole big thing and do a little bit of a speech and have a little bit of lunch and hang out with his family a little bit. And I couldn't go. I phoned her up to let her know, but I felt really bad about it. I really wanted to go to that. And yeah, so that kind of sucked. My sister got to go, so at least like one of us was there, but I was really disappointed it couldn't also be me. And then that night I booked myself into a test. It's super easy where I live in Alberta. You go online and all I Googled was like COVID screening Alberta or something like that. And it came up with a self-assessment tool that you use to find out if you meet the criteria for what's going on, and it kind of gives you some more information about like self-isolating and all that kind of stuff as well. So I clicked through it, and then I was having a sore throat, and I had like a low-grade fever. It was like 37 degrees. I usually run about 36.3 on the thermometer we have at home. So a little high, but like not wild, and some of that could have been because it was 30 frickin' degrees outside, and therefore 40 degrees in my house. It was 79 degrees the other night inside of our house, for those of you guys that are American and going by Fahrenheit. It's hot for Canada. Anyways, so, but I wasn't having any shortness of breath, there wasn't any cough, there wasn't anything else, actually. That was it. It was the only two symptoms I had. And, but I did the symptom checker, and I went down, I booked myself an appointment right online. It was super easy. The next time they could get me in for a test was 3 business days later, because I booked it on Thursday night. And so you're stuck having a weekend in the middle. So today is Tuesday, and today was actually my test at 2 o'clock this afternoon. They have it, the closest one to me is actually in like a recycle place where we bring like paints, or cans of paint and stuff like that to get sort of recycled back. And so they've obviously shut down the recycling for right now. And it's full of healthcare workers, and they're in full PPE the whole day. God bless them for what they do. There was a whole lineup of cars, but it was nice and it was organized. It was super easy to get through. I showed up early because that's how I roll. I was there probably about 1:30. Not a worry, they let me right through into the lineup. And it probably took till 10 after 2, quarter after 2, till it was my turn in the bay. And then they fit about 5 cars in the bay at a time. They swab everybody in all 5 cars. They've got multiple nurses going to each vehicle. Or sorry, one nurse going to each vehicle, sort of a thing. And once they had everybody swabbed, they just let us all go. Not a big deal. They opened up the doors. We all bailed. It didn't take very long. Probably a little longer because the car behind me had like 4 people involved, because one got sick. So now everybody in the house gets tested. So that was fun. But it wasn't bad. It was pretty quick. The swab was in my throat rather than up my nose. Apparently they only do the up the nose one if you still have symptoms. And I don't. My symptoms have been away now for, I think we're on day 3 now, being completely symptom free. So I got a swab in the throat, and I have a hugely intact gag reflex, so that was less than fun. I could have done without that in my day, to be completely honest with you. But it wasn't awful. I've definitely, like, had worse being sick. It wasn't a huge issue for as much as, like, COVID has definitely altered a lot of things that we do in healthcare and that kind of thing. Little piece of fuzz, and I got sidetracked like a squirrel, dude. That literally just happened. But that, yeah, it hasn't been so bad. We're on day 6 now, quarantine between my husband and I. The rules in the province are 10 days from the onset of symptoms, or until your symptoms are gone, whichever one is longer. So I have a couple more days. The test results take about 3 to 7 business days to come in. If it's negative, they just phone you with an automated message saying, hey, your test was negative, you can move on with your life. If it is positive, then they give you a phone call because they want to know who you've been in close contact with, so they can get those people also tested and that kind of thing. Because I'm a healthcare worker, my test gets sort of bumped up to the front line of healthcare workers. Not because we're any more important, but because we need to get back to work. Because now I've been 6 days without being able to get back on an ambulance. So that's kind of a big deal. I don't think they've been too bad for, like, people being sick on the ambulance service, but we've definitely seen a huge upswing in the amount of calls that are coming in for us, as well as a lot longer wait times in the hospital, because all the surgeries and stuff have gone back on, all the regular wards have opened back up, and now one of our hospitals actually has a COVID outbreak in it, so they're basically shut in. They're not allowing sort of anybody in or out unless you're, like, obviously relieved of what's happening and why you're in the hospital in the first place. Obviously you can go home, but they're not transferring you to a different hospital unless there's a big reason to transfer you and a reason that they can't keep you in the same hospital. So those nurses and those healthcare workers and the guys that clean the rooms and everybody else over there has been busting some serious butt trying to get it back under control, so that we can open the hospital back up to people coming in, which means we have another hospital to bring people to, which is nice as a paramedic. Hi, Katie. Nice of you to join us. So yeah, so it's been a little frustrating to not be on the front lines anymore and to kind of be sidelined in sort of the midst of a pandemic, but I guess here we are. On the bonus, I got to miss out most of a heat wave, so that's not so bad. Because a steel toe, or oh, I'm really sorry, Heather. So she's got COVID and it's on day 12 and it's rough and that sucks. It is not a fun condition to be having. I doubt it's COVID. I went for the test because that's what we're supposed to do. Because the people that I've seen with COVID have been a lot more sick. So, yeah. Yeah, the only reason that it's all right is that we had that heat wave that I was talking about, and at work I have a bulletproof vest on and a dark colored uniform and steel-toed boots and a gown and a mask and gloves and safety glasses every time we roll into anybody that's got a maybe COVID positive screening. So anybody that's got a sore throat, a fever, a shortness of breath, a cough, and that's 90% of people we go to. And you get there and they're like gray in the face and they're short of breath, but they want massive amounts of chest pain. You're like, this probably isn't COVID. This is probably a heart attack. But it's a lot. And it's hot. And it's heavy. Our, like, as high up as you can get in, like, the Edmonton area where I'm at in EMS, he's wonderful. I've met him a couple of times in person. He doesn't know who I am, and that's perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine not being known to the top, because usually it's for bad reasons, not for good ones. But apparently the other night, he actually got on one of our sort of first response units. So it's got one paramedic in a truck by himself, and their job is to kind of roll out and get things kind of semi-under control, get a handle on what's going on. They usually get a first set of vital signs and some history and stuff before the transporting ambulance gets there. Thank you. I love my coffee cup. My husband bought it for me for Christmas. Like last year. I'm a little bit sad. I'm a little bit sappy about it. He's a pretty cute husband. Anyways, and apparently he got on and they rolled a call and they did a call where full PPE would be required and it's hot and you're in a hurry because it's emergency services, and a lot of people don't call 911 for no reason. Even if it's not necessarily an emergency to somebody who's trained in emergencies, it's definitely an emergency to them. That's why they called 911. That situation sounded like an actual emergency, so they were hot and they were heavy, and now they're working with everything. And he said he actually sent out a huge thank you to everybody for what we've been doing. He's like, that was one call and I was soaked. He's like, I can't even imagine all you guys that have been doing this all day, every day, for weeks. And it was kind of nice to see somebody from the top, like, sort of go back to basics. And he's a trained paramedic. He's been a paramedic for eons. His wife is also a paramedic, so he's got good connections to being on the street. But it's nice to knowing that somebody that's that high up will put himself back again in our shoes just to see how it's going, because this is definitely different than, you know, how paramedicine was even last year. And so it's kind of cool. It's kind of neat. It was kind of cool to read his email and read his own sort of personal experience with having to don all of that stuff back up. So, 4 more days and we'll be back on the road and we'll be back doing all the normal things. And until then, I'm going to enjoy the heat wave, not in a bulletproof vest and a gown. They are hot. But yeah, I've got my dog here. Loki, do you want to come say hi, buddy? Come here. Come here. He doesn't want to come say hi. He's being a big sap. Come here. If you come here, I got cookies for you. Come here. I know, come here. He doesn't believe me that I have cookies. I don't, but I'll get in the house and I'll give him one. Look at this dog. Say hi. Yes. Yes, you're a good dog. This is my puppy Loki, for anybody that hasn't met him. He's a big old giant. He's also not been super enjoying this heat wave. So on the other side of this thing here, there's actually a kiddie pool that is meant for the dog. We don't have kids. It's not a kiddie pool. I bought it in a pet store. Has a dog bone on the bottom, and it's super for the dog. I will post a picture to Instagram of what he looks like when he gets in it, because it is hysterical. Because he's so big, he takes up like the whole pool when he sits in it. And he doesn't sit in it for very long. He like sits in it for a quick second, and then he gets up and kind of shakes himself off a little bit, but it helps cool him down a little bit so that he's not like ragingly hot all the time. And because he wears a much fuzzier coat than I have to, which is super nice. I can just pull my hair back up and it drops like 5 degrees off my body. He can't do that. So yeah, so that's pretty much been what we've been doing around here. This is my gazebo, by the way. I don't know if you guys have seen this before. It is a Costco purchase from a couple years ago. And they said it was a 2-person setup. They were lying to you. The roof panels came, like everything came in pieces. And my husband and I managed to put together the roof panels ourselves, but there's 4 roof panels, and it's covered in spider webs, but I'm going to show you anyway. So these like panels or whatever. So there's 4 of them. And then him and I managed to put together like all the little stuff kind of together. And then 2 of our buddies actually came over, a friend of ours and his wife. And they're wonderful friends of ours. And the 2 boys did all the heavy lifting, and my job was to literally hold the center of this up so that it didn't cave back in while they were still bolting everything together. Because you can't let go until you got 3 of them in place, otherwise you don't have enough of a triangle to like actually have it hold itself in place. And my girlfriend, the wife that was there, was handing us all the nuts and bolts basically to get the boys to put it up as fast as they could. While her job wasn't necessarily necessary, it definitely made it a lot faster. It was necessary for me. My arms could not hold that for a whole lot longer than when I was finally able to let it go. But it's up, and it's lovely. We had a soft top one, but it collapsed on me 3 years ago now. We spent like $800 on it. I was super mad. It only lasted 2 seasons. And then you couldn't get the parts to fix it. So we basically had to like chuck it and buy a new one. And I was like, well, I'm not going to buy another soft top one. It lasted 2 seasons of rain and then wouldn't do it anymore. So we bought a hard top one, and it was a couple extra bucks. I think it was like $1,200 from Costco. That's fabulous. It's got like cedar. These big beams behind me are all cedar wood, so they smell really nice. If you want to walk up and sniff it, which I mean, I don't do regularly. I'm just saying it's an option. But and then we've got our fire pit out front, which is in the backyard here, but out front of where I'm sitting. And it's starting to crumble and fall apart. So it'll need to be replaced. Probably not this summer, but next summer we'll replace it out. But we've been lighting a lot of things on fire. Sitting outside, drinking a beer, that kind of thing. Because what else to do? We're locked down in the house for 10 days. We ran out of beer. That didn't take very long. There wasn't a lot of beer in the house. We don't really drink a whole lot, so like to be stuck here and have a drink or 2 a night is probably more than we've drank in forever. We don't get drunk. We just sit around, have a couple beer, whatever. And yeah, we're out of that. We're out of a lot of food. My sister made us an emergency run the other night. She brought me over some milk and some stuff to make salads with, so we don't starve or die of scurvy or something before we're let out of here. When my husband came home in April, we were under quarantine. I don't know if you guys remember that, but he came home from the States. So the rule was mandatory quarantine for 14 days if you come back from out of country. And I knew he was coming home, and I wasn't out of country, so I had the opportunity anyways to get into Costco and get into Safeway, and I spent like an immense amount of money, and I bought a lot of things and stocked the house really, really well. Like everything from pork chops to I bought a couple of steaks and a whole bunch of chicken and stashed us up with, you know, quite a bit of veg and that kind of thing. And I also stocked the house up with like junk food we don't normally eat, because generally speaking, if I put junk food in the house, we'll both eat it. That's the problem with junk food in the house. So like I won't buy mac and cheese, but if I want mac and cheese because I'm having a weird craving and I want like crap food from back when I was a child, please tell me I'm not the only one who does this, I just drive over to Safeway and I go buy a box of mac and cheese, and I'll come home and I'll eat it. Same thing goes for like chips and ice cream and chocolate and whatever else that's junk food. If we don't keep it in the house and I have to actually drive for it when I have a craving, it definitely drops how much I eat of it, rather than just looking in the pantry going, oh yeah, look at that, I have a whole bag of chips in there. Our first quarantine was not like that. Kept a lot of junk food in the house, mostly because I still wanted to be married at the end of 14 days. So like there was junk food and there was comfort food and there was that kind of stuff, because really right now with what's going on, I'm not setting any goals. My whole goal is to still be married at the end of quarantine. You know what I mean? At the end of this pandemic. And I'm just like everybody else. We're stuck in the house. I'm stuck in close quarters with my husband. Things need to kind of happen that maybe don't normally occur, right? And you kind of just got to let a lot of things slide that you maybe don't let slide normally, and I just survive it. I'm not putting any stress on like what I need to do or what I think I need to accomplish. You know, there was a lot of like, oh, if you don't lose weight during quarantine, then time isn't your issue. You know what? People are stressed out. If you're not losing weight, it's okay. If you're not getting the renos done on your house that you've really wanted to get done, it's also okay. Everything is fine. As long as nobody's dead and you're doing okay, and people like Heather that have COVID recover, then we're doing all right. That's the whole deal. Let me tell you though, I've done a lot of cross-stitching. A lot of cross-stitching. Sitting on the couch, because we have like, our house is old school, so it's got 3 bedrooms in the back and then the living room and the kitchen up front. And so my husband sits in the back room and plays video games a lot, and then I sit in the front room and watch TV and cross stitch, and that's kind of our deal. And then we're sort of out of each other's personal space for most of the day. And then he'll swing by when he gets a little bored with his video games or when he wants to eat or whatever, and he'll come just chill out with me for a little bit, or he's ask how I'm doing. Every time he gets up for a drink, he asks if I want one, and I do the same. From my point of view, so anytime I get up or go to the washroom or go to grab myself a drink, I'll see if he wants anything, go over and give him a hug and a kiss and tell him I love him, that kind of thing, and then go back to my space. And it lets us, like, maintain being connected without constantly sitting, like, right side by side. Because I love him to pieces. But after, like, so many days, you can't sit side by side anymore. You need some personal space. Everybody needs it. He actually went downstairs and played darts last night. We went down together, and then I got bored after 2 rounds, so I went upstairs. And he sat downstairs and put on the TV down there, some, like, learn how to play darts YouTube videos, and continued to learn how to play, so whatever. But yeah, it's been a lot of, what else are we gonna do today to kill a little time and try not to die with the 1,000-degree heat we're getting around here. This is not Texas. We are not meant for this. Anyways, I think I've rambled on enough. I am going to jump on later this week. I have to look at the calendar again. But we should be able to do a pregnancy test later this week. So that's exciting. We did take letrozole this month. Because I'm on quarantine, if it doesn't work this week, I might not be able to take anything next month because I don't have any more drugs. So that sucks. And I'm on quarantine, so I can't go get more drugs. They're not urgent enough for me to send anybody out to go get them either, so there's that. But hopefully it worked, and if it didn't, it didn't. I'm not really putting a whole lot of stress on it this month around. Entertainment in. Let's call it that. Oh, YouTube doesn't get mad. But yeah, so hopefully we'll have a live pregnancy test kind of later this week, and we'll see how it goes. And other than that, I hope you guys stay well. Heather, I hope you start to feel better soon. And hopefully you're on the mend here quickly. And if you guys are on quarantine, remember to reach out. While you're physically having to distance from people, you don't socially have to distance from people. We actually had a backyard fire the other night with our next door neighbor that's actually on the other side of this fence. He had a backyard fire going with his friends, and we had a backyard fire over here, and then we talked over the fence. Not close, just far over the fence. Been doing lots of YouTube videos, or not lots of YouTube, but lots of FaceTime videos with friends. We actually hung out with friends from Milwaukee the other night on FaceTime, so that was really cool. It's something we don't normally do, which is kind of nice. We usually on Friday nights, we used to have Friday night dinners at my mom's house. Obviously that's not a thing anymore, so now we do Friday night FaceTime videos for dinner. And we kind of chills out and talks and that kind of thing. I think the coolest part of that is that my aunt can now join us from Australia, which is definitely not something she could do before, because Friday night dinners, you're not going to fly down from Australia for. So it's been a long time since we've seen her, so it's nice to see her on a regular basis now. And yeah, I've actually been chatting with a lot of people I haven't seen in a long time. So remember to reach out. Remember to talk to people. If somebody's under quarantine, remember to reach out to them too and make sure they're doing all right. Make sure they got enough stuff. Like this time around, we weren't prepared for quarantine. I wasn't prepared to wake up one morning and have a sore throat. So there's not a lot of food left in the house. We got another 4 days to go. We should be all right. I made a vat of soup the other night, so we should be okay for the 4 more days. But remember to check out on them if they're not prepared for this. This is gonna suck. You can do contactless drop off. My sister, when she dropped me milk, just left it on the front door, and then bailed, rang my doorbell, and then stood at the bottom of my driveway and waved at me. So, but yeah. So I hope you guys stay well. Remember to check in. Remember to be socially together while you're physically distancing. Be safe. And I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, bye.